In this video, I quickly explain how all the new Natlan mechanics work. I'll cover Phlogiston, Nightsoul Bursts, Nightsoul Transmissions, Nightsoul Blessings, and Nightsoul Points. Feel free to use the timestamps in the description if you want to skip around. If you find this video helpful, then you should consider joining my YouTube members for some awesome benefits. But now let's start off with Phlogiston and Nightsoul Blessing states. While in Natlan, your party will gain a Phlogiston meter above your HP bar. This is essentially an energy meter similar to stamina, although you don't use this energy until you've used up your Nightsoul points when in a Nightsoul's Blessing state. When in this state, you get yet another stamina bar. Depending on the character or Saurian, this bar will function slightly differently. In Mualani's case, when you use her skill, she will enter her Nightsoul's Blessing state and will constantly consume her Nightsoul points while riding her Sharky surfboard. Sprinting will consume more Nightsoul points. When all Nightsoul points are consumed, you will begin consuming any energy stored in your Phlogiston meter. You can refill this meter using these Phlogiston top-up stations or from certain resources found while exploring Natlan. If you have any questions on Phlogiston or anything else Natlan related, leave a comment and I'll do my best to answer them. I mentioned that the Nightsoul points bar functions differently depending on the character or Saurian that you're using. In Kinich's case, it's almost the opposite of Mualani. Instead of consuming Nightsoul points while he's in his Nightsoul Blessing state, Kinich will slowly restore points. When his Nightsoul points bar is full, he's able to use all the accumulated points to perform a powerful attack. I'll have a separate video dedicated to how Kinich's talents work, including exactly how much of a damage increase you gain from leveling up his talents. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. I'll have a link on screen now when it's available. If it's not already out, it'll be out soon. But back to Kinich's Nightsoul state. Because of how his Nightsoul points function while in this state, Kinich won't consume Phlogiston while in combat like Mualani and most others. However, he will consume Phlogiston while traversing Natlan, if you use his skill a second time while in midair. In this way, he can do up to 2 leaps with his fancy gadget while in Natlan, or a domain with Phlogiston mechanics. But typically, the Phlogiston meter at the bottom of the screen is going to be used to extend Natlan characters' on-field time, whether that be in combat or while exploring. But that brings me to the next subject, Nightsoul Transmissions. I'll use Mualani as an example, but this mechanic will function very similarly for all Natlan characters. Like with other Natlan characters, in certain situations you can perform a fast swap and immediately enter Mualani's Nightsoul's Blessing state. While in an area with Phlogiston mechanics within Natlan, you can perform Mualani's Nightsoul Transmission once every 10 seconds by switching to a Mualani while the active character is at a certain height in the air or currently swimming, sprinting, or in a movement mode caused by certain talents. She will then immediately enter her Nightsoul's Blessing state, but she will only start off with 40 Nightsoul points. If you activate her skill while in the state and before she runs out of Nightsoul points or Phlogiston, then she will refill her Nightsoul points bar to full. You can tell that she's able to do this Nightsoul top up when her skill is glowing. Doing this while in combat and on land can result in up to 1 more of her powerful Sharky Surging Bites normal attacks per rotation. Now there are a few exceptions when comparing Mualani's Nightsoul Transmission to other Natlan characters. She is so far the only character that allows you to do one of these fast swap transmissions while swimming. Also, Kachina is currently the only character that allows you to perform a Nightsoul Transmission while climbing, and Kinich is the only one that allows you to do this while gliding. But if I had to guess, the next Natlan character, xilonen, will have her Nightsoul Transmission function similarly to Kachina's. In Kinich's case, due to how his Nightsoul points and his traversal mechanics work, he also isn't able to do one of these Nightsoul top-ups like Mualani and Kachina. So unfortunately, you aren't able to extend Kinich's on-field time. Instead, when performing his Nightsoul Transmission, Kinich will auto-target either the nearest enemy or Coilgrass Sigil with his grappling hook. If no enemies or Coilgrass Sigils are nearby, then Kinich will instead come swinging into frame like Tarzan. While out of combat, you can still perform a second leap while in mid-air, at the cost of some Phlogiston. Just be careful while in combat. Kinich seems to prioritize coilgrass sigils over enemies if one is nearby. Obviously, I can't cover every character's Nightsoul transmission, mostly because there are currently only 3 Natlan characters available, but each character's Nightsoul transmission will likely be very similar to these. So, like avoiding unwanted coilgrass sigils while using Kinich in combat, here are some other exploration tips I've gathered in my dozens of hours exploring Natlan. Most Natlan characters allow you to perform a jump while in their Nightsoul Blessing state. You can do this even while in combat. Some characters even let you perform an attack while in the air, although it is typically more useful while exploring. In Mualani's case, if you enter her Nightsoul's Blessing state before gliding, then she stays in this state even with your wings out. This means you can use her normal attacks to lunge forward while gliding. It does have a short cooldown, but it makes getting to your destination that much faster. Currently, Mualani does take fall damage while in her Nightsoul Blessing state. I've read that there's supposed to be a patch for Mualani that will change or fix her fall damage. But for now, you want to make sure that Mualani and Kachina don't hit the ground too hard while you're in their Nightsoul Blessing states. On the other hand, Kinich is able to fall for a very long time without taking any fall damage. I have found that there is a limit, so if he falls for long enough, then he will still take fall damage. But most of the time you don't have to worry about taking fall damage with Kinich after using his grappling hook. Speaking of things that can hurt you, so far the only character that can safely traverse liquid phlogiston is Mualani, but I could probably make an entire video dedicated to Natlan related tips, so if that's something you want, just leave a comment and I'll get working on it. For now, let's get back to the Natlan mechanics. Lastly, there are Nightsoul Bursts. Nightsoul Bursts are triggered when dealing elemental damage to an opponent while the party contains at least one Natlan character. A Nightsoul Burst is displayed as this white star shape outline. Having more Natlan characters in the party reduces the cooldown between these Nightsoul Bursts. The cooldown is 18 seconds for one Natlan character, 12 seconds for 2 characters, and 9 seconds if you have 3 or more Natlan characters in the party. Nightsoul Bursts don't deal any damage and are mostly used to trigger other effects. This can be anything from artifact set effects to character talents. So far, each Natlan character has a passive talent that is activated with Nightsoul Bursts. In Mualani's case, after a party member triggers Nightsoul Burst, Mualani will gain 1 stack of Wave Chaser's exploits. She can have up to 3 stacks, and it lasts for 20 seconds. Mualani consumes these stacks to increase her Boom Shakalaka damage based on a percentage of her max HP. Kinich also receives a damage bonus from Nightsoul Bursts. He can have up to 2 of these stacks and will consume these stacks to increase his cannon shot damage by 320% of his attack per stack. So Natlan characters can work better together by increasing the frequency of these Nightsoul Bursts, and thus making it easier to obtain various effects and buffs. Well, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I've been struggling to grow my channel, so since you made it this far, please subscribe and share this video if you can. I would really like to be able to make videos full time, so if you really want to show your support, tap that join button below the video. I have several different membership options with a ton of perks, but thanks so much for watching. I seriously appreciate you for making it until the end. Now check out some of my other videos. Here's a couple that YouTube thinks you'll like. I'll catch you in the next one. Subscribe.